The right decision almost never feels exciting at first. It feels terrifying. It feels like standing completely alone, like disappointing people, like questioning your entire sanity at 2 o'clock in the morning, like walking away from something that looks perfectly fine on the outside, while your whole body whispers, "This is no longer me." What happens when nothing is technically wrong, but you slowly feel yourself disappearing anyway? That's what I want to talk about today. Because choosing alignment isn't allowed to triumph. It's a quiet, lonely choice to stop dying inside a life that looks perfectly good on paper. You can survive out of alignment for years. You can show up to the office, handle the meetings, smile at jokes, and even succeed there. But every Tuesday morning, you find yourself sitting at your desk, performing a quiet ritual. You turn off your brain just to get through the door. Your mind goes numb until you can finally escape at 5 o'clock. But eventually, something inside of you starts protesting. Your body starts protesting. Your energy starts protesting. Your joy starts protesting. Your nervous system starts protesting. There is a saying that only a dead fish go with the current. And I don't say that to judge anyone, because many of us have drifted for years without realizing it. But I do think there comes a moment when your body, your energy, and your inner wisdom start asking, am I choosing this? Or am I just being carried by it? And the most confusing part is that from the outside, your life looks completely stable. That's what makes this so confusing. Well-meaning people often speak from their own fears, not your truth. They say, but your job is stable. Be thankful for the salary. Other people have it so much worse. And maybe all of that is true. But what happens when your soul still feels trapped inside your own life? You walk around with a tight chest, dragging yourself through the day, asking yourself the exact same painful question. Why am I not happy? Am I just ungrateful? But you aren't ungrateful. You are a human being whose aliveness has finally started screaming louder than your logic. And this is not a lack of gratitude, and it's not a standard job fatigue. It is the specific exhaustion that comes from forcing your nervous system to stay locked inside a lifestyle that no longer matches the woman you are becoming. You aren't tired because you're working hard. You're tired because you're spending 50% of your daily energy trying to convince yourself to stay misaligned because it looks safer. Ego and society tell you that safety is found in predictability, bank balances, and external approval. But your body knows the truth. Forcing compliance over alignment is a slow form of self-betrayal. I recently attended an event focused on integrity, and as I sat there listening to stories about high-stake choices, something became very clear to me. The right decision is rarely the easy one. In fact, it is usually the hardest choice you will ever make. Integrity does not promise immediate comfort. It promises truth. And your nervous system will almost always experience that truth as dangerous before it experiences it as peaceful. I have always been someone who speaks up when something doesn't feel right. I am known for it, even when people don't want to hear it, even when it creates massive tension, and even when it would be infinitely easier for me, for my career, to just stay quiet. I've done that in leadership roles and in deep professional environments. I remember a distinct period in my career where the misalignment became a physical weight. From the outside, I had the ultimate setup, a good position, a secure future, and a predictable income. Logically, as a mother with a real world responsibilities, children, bills, and a loan to pay off, staying made total sense. But I was dying inside the bureaucracy and the paperwork. It wasn't meaningful. I wasn't afraid of hard work, but I was terrified of this emotional flatness. And still, I tried to negotiate against myself. I tried to convince myself to stay because staying looked safer, more logical, more responsible. People around me reinforced that too. And fear was absolutely there. Fear of instability, fear of financial insecurity, fear of failing, fear that people wouldn't understand me, fear that maybe I was making a mistake. My nervous system did not experience alignment as peaceful at first. It experienced it as a dangerous thing. But then when I started coaching clients, even just as a part-time thing alongside of my job, the contrast was undeniable. I felt more alive helping a person change their life for 1 hour than I did sitting through an entire week of turning my brain off at a desk. And once your body experiences what real alignment feels like, it becomes physically impossible to tolerate the numbness of misalignment anymore. So why do we negotiate against our own truth? Because we romanticize transformation. We look at social media and think alignment means making one giant dramatic leap overnight where everything magically settles into place. But real life doesn't work that way. When you challenge an old way of living, your nervous system panics because you are dismantling the exact identity that kept you safe and approved for decades. And real alignment is actually a slow, layered process. It is choosing again and again, day after day, one small, honest decision at a time. It's a daily practice of letting old layers peel away so something steadier and more honest can form underneath your feet. And like I just said, this is where the real confusion sets in. We mistake that panic for a sign that we're making a mistake. We think if this was the right decision, it would feel calm immediately. But that's not how growth works. I have to remind myself of this all the time. That old version of you simply knows it cannot come with you where you're going. And that's why integrity feels lonely before it feels peaceful. And I think this is where so many people get confused. They think if this is right, that the calm would come immediately. It doesn't work that way. Growth never works that way. Sometimes the first aligned step is very small. Sometimes it's just admitting this no longer feels right. Sometimes it's letting yourself imagine another possibility. Sometimes it's taking one course, having one conversation, starting one project, taking 1 hour back for yourself, speaking one truth out loud. And that matters too. You don't need to quit your job or change your entire life by tomorrow morning. You just need to stop ignoring the signal today. And tomorrow, when you feel that familiar tightness in your chest or that urge to turn your brain off just to tolerate a moment, take a 10-second pause. Perform an internal audit and ask yourself this single question. Am I choosing this right now out of love for my path, or am I just protecting an old story of safety? Let yourself simply admit the truth of what you feel without judgment. Take one tiny aligned action this week. Have one conversation, set one boundary. Explore one side interest that makes you feel alive. Teach your nervous system, layer by layer, that it is safe to trust yourself. Because every aligned step teaches your nervous system, I can trust myself. And I think this is what integrity really is for me. Not perfection, not always getting it right, not performing morally. Integrity is when your inner world and outer life stop fighting each other. It's when you stop abandoning yourself just to maintain comfort, approval, or predictability. And that doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy. It still have fears. It still have moments where I question myself. I still think about security, finances, the future, success, health, responsibilities. But something is very different now. I feel alive again, and that matters. Because peace is not only about safety, peace is also about truth. And there is a certain kind of exhaustion that no amount of rest can fix when you are betraying yourself every day. Your body knows, your energy knows, your nervous system knows. Eventually, it all starts speaking louder, not to punish you, but to wake you up. So maybe today, instead of asking what is the safest decision, ask, what decision allows me to feel most like myself? Not the fantasy version, not the fearless version, not the perfect version, the honest one. Because as we've been talking about today, alignment is not a destination you suddenly arrive at. It's an ongoing relationship, a daily return, a daily listening, a daily choosing. And you know what? Fear may still walk beside you for a while, but eventually something beautiful happens. Your self-trust becomes louder than your fear. And that's the moment life starts opening again. Not because everything became certain, but because you finally stopped abandoning yourself to maintain a life that no longer fit who you were becoming. Your legacy will never be built on how well you tolerated a life that was too small for you. It will be built on the moments you choose truth over pure performance, even when it was uncomfortable, even when it was lonely, and even when absolutely nobody else understood what you were doing yet. Stop asking what the safest, most logical decision is, and start asking, what decision allows me to look in the mirror and know I am being true to myself? If this episode feels like a mirror for a quiet transition you are navigating right now, I invite you to explore the other conversation on this podcast. And if the fear of what your colleagues, your family, or society will say is keeping you locked in compliance, I encourage you to click the link in the first comment below. The bravest thing you will ever do is stop betraying your own soul. Welcome home.